Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo, and I am sharing in this really special interview with Anita Griffith her story of healing. For those of you who don't know me, I am a physician. I was an emergency medicine board certified physician, and I'm now practicing mind-body medicine and sharing about how the body heals itself and how we can ignite that using the mind-body connection. And Anita has been someone who's been in some of my programs online and has been in my mind-body community and shared a really amazing story where something most people don't think is possible has happened for her because she had that will and she knew this was something beyond what most doctors told her she could do, but that she knew somewhere deep inside that she wanted. And so she sought out resources for that, including the work that I'm doing, and has healed from a serious chronic illness at a very severe stage. And I'm going to have her share the details of that with you. She's located in Tasmania and I'm over here in Colorado. So it's incredible to connect with someone on the other side of the world. And if you've been in the mind-body community, you may have seen some of her really enthusiastic posts about the miraculous things that have been happening in her life and in her body after multiple years with this serious illness that doctors told her she would never walk again, she would soon die, and there was nothing that could be done. So thank you, Anita, for being here today to share your story. And I'm really, really excited to have you connect with our viewers and have a voice, give a voice to something that most people have maybe started to believe is not possible for the purpose of changing people's minds.
Oh, thank you. It's just amazing to be here. It's quite surreal. I'm still trying to get my head around it all because I spent many years in darkness, just searching for hope. Trying to fix, just really pushing and trying to fix myself, and I just got deeper entrenched in illness and desperation and despair. And so to be here now, just relaying my story and giving people hope is just amazing. It really is. I feel so very blessed to be doing that.
So why don't you share? No, you shared with me that your diagnosis, well, so you were not walking, you were in the bed, you know, they had to put a hospital bed into your living dining room, and you kind of cleared the whole space because you weren't able to sleep in your bed anymore, you weren't able to walk anymore. And it really obviously affected every aspect of your life. You were diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS, multiple sclerosis, which for those of you who aren't aware is a severe autonomic disorder where an autoimmune disorder where your body attacks the myelin sheath of the nerves, meaning the layer that kind of protects the nerves and helps them conduct more quickly starts to break down because of this autoimmune process where your body's kind of attacking itself, and the nerves don't conduct the way they're supposed to. And this can affect any area of your body. It can start to affect your vision. For a lot of people, it affects those long nerves that go to the lower extremities, to your legs. So it affects walking sometimes really early on, and people will notice disability with, you know, even simple things like walking around. And then it can progress very severely, which is what happened for you. So why don't you share a little bit about that and how you were diagnosed, the symptoms you were having. And then I know you also had severe pain throughout your entire body at the time as well.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty long journey. Nearly a decade I've been down and out pretty much with trying to deal with this illness, and a gap year, a gap decade maybe. I'm very glad to be on the other side of it, but I was diagnosed in 2011 with relapsing remitting MS, and my father actually died of progressive MS. So when I was diagnosed, they told me, oh, there may be a hint of progression. So that was very confronting because I'd seen my father die of this illness when I was only a teenager. I was 19 when I lost him. So yeah, it was very, very confronting. And of course that sent me into a spiral of fear and desperation. And yeah, I was just desperate for any way to fix things and to stay on this planet with my family. And I did go through the Western medical route to start with, and unfortunately I had a lot of reactions to everything that I tried, and the last medication, the reaction to that left me in the wheelchair. So
the wheelchair, that was after how many, like from
yeah,
when you
that was after
symptoms?
I was diagnosed in 2011. I tried 2 different MS medications and had quite severe reactions to them, and because of that my MS was progressing rapidly. So even though they said I had relapsing remitting, I never had any remission. I went downhill big time. I never got any abilities back that I lost. So it's been a really rapid onset. By 2014 I needed a walker. By 2015 I was in a wheelchair full time. And
so it was a few years later, you were fully in the wheelchair.
Yeah, only a few years later I was in a wheelchair full time. And by late 2016, it got really bad. I have severe muscle spasms, stiffness, chronic pain, nerve pain, muscle pain, joint pain, gut issues, drop foot, shoulder issues. I've been dealing with chronic bursitis, rotator cuff tear, and frozen shoulder in my right shoulder, and it's reoccurring because of the contortion to my body, like my joint and things.
Yep. Spasm.
Yeah.
Because of the condition in the nerves with MS.
Yes, and so it's trying to counteract that and pulling joints out and things. So yeah, I've had quite a lot of severe pain around my right shoulder area, and means I can't use my right arm much. And it is starting to come back on deck, which is awesome. And the pain has now it's just tight, but it has been very, very chronic for years. And actually, once my arm started playing up, that meant I could no longer get up and down from the floor and do my yoga stretches, because I've always been very fit and loved my yoga and Pilates. And once I stopped being able to do any yoga stretches and getting that movement of up and down, that was it. I pretty much lost the ability to walk then.
And then you ended up like in a bed, you said you had to clean up the dining room. They had to put a hospital bed in your dining room.
Yeah, my spasms got so bad, the rigidity and the muscle spasms, and I couldn't take any pain meds or anything. I'm allergic to absolutely everything. So there was nothing I could take for it. And I got to the point where I couldn't transfer to and from my bed at all, and I had to be in a full electric hoist with a sling and be carried out of the bed to the wheelchair. I couldn't actually, it was suggested that I be bed bound, but I couldn't stay in the bed because I've damaged my tailbone in a skiing accident actually when I was young. And because I've lost so much weight because of muscle atrophy, that's a big issue. So I can't, if I lay down, I have to be asleep. If I'm awake, I'm in a lot of pain from the tailbone. So even staying in bed, I could not do. So I had to be hoisted in and out.
Well, and now I know it's reported like you started walking again, you're using a walker, but you're able to regain function. You're no longer in the hospital bed. You've reignited a relationship with your husband after like obviously such a toll on the marriage, and that you're no longer in that severe chronic pain. So here we are at 2020. I want to hear, and I know a lot of people want to hear, like, what did you do? What happened? And what was that journey like? Because I know it wasn't just a physical impairment, but like a lot of despair and the hopelessness, being told like there's nothing that can be done. You've seen your father die from this, and knowing like, am I just going in one direction? How did you open to know like, no, there's something else possible for me, and then take that journey?
Yeah, it's it's been a long journey, and it took me a long time to see that. I have always thought right from the get-go that this is not me, you know, that I can recover, and that's always been my belief. But as things got progressively worse and worse, so you know, so rapidly, it was really hard to keep a hold of that belief. And I was in such a tug of war with myself, because you know, one part of me just knew that this wasn't for me and that I was going to recover, but then the physical part of me was crumbling, and yeah, it was very, very hard to see, and in the end, it took a complete sort of breakdown, more or less. I'd say, you know, emotionally and physically, to find hope. It was in my severe hopelessness that I found hope.
And when was that? And what happened?
Well, it really was only probably about a few months ago, I'd say, maybe 5 months ago. I just got to the point where I'd spent so long, because I'm quite always been a motivated person, lots of willpower, and do everything at 250%. So yeah, that's what I was doing, and I just was completely exhausted, completely depleted. I just didn't know a way out, and I finally surrendered. It took me a long time. I didn't want to. I thought at first it's really hard to not feel like you're giving up. But I got to the point where I felt I just couldn't go on anymore, actually. I was pretty much to the point where I was just like, this is too much. I'm going now. And was balled up in pain in my bed and thought that was the end of it. And that was when things changed. I was able to release a lot of pent-up emotion, and cry on my husband's shoulder, and he supported me through that, and we reconnected, and it's just been great. I feel so much more free, so much more alive. I feel that it's okay to be me. I've had a lot of trauma in my childhood, and never really felt safe to be myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this has happened. I've just been so trapped in an identity that wasn't mine.
Mm-hmm.
And now that once I had that sort of emotional breakdown, I actually had a lot of memories surface from deep-seated trauma. So I had a lot of awareness and a lot of awakening happen at that time, and I've had to disconnect from a few people in my life, but it's in doing that, it's made a massive difference. I've taken a lot of pressure off myself, and you know, I'm learning how to be my true self. I'm learning who I am now, you know, and being true to myself. And yeah.
What would you say led to that that breakthrough experience?
Well, just being so very depleted and in the depths of despair. I just really felt that I had nowhere left to turn, and I also had no more energy to push. So it was really just
a story I hear from a lot of people, that surrender is like really a pinnacle moment, but then, you know, we're trying to get there as opposed to being where we are. And I know there are a lot of things you said that like really made a difference for you along the way to now being like, you know, in this relationship with your husband that's like better than ever before, you know, beginning to walk, get your health back, starting doing writing, which is something you've always wanted to do, and then finding like meaning and purpose, and also like assisting others and in your work as like an energy intuitive and developing that. What would you say to someone who's in that space that would maybe like be a direction for them to go into, or a space of possibility?
Yeah, I Oh, it's such a personal journey, anything like this, but I really want to reach out to people and say, and you know, there is hope. Be gentle on yourself, and just allow yourself to feel whatever it is you need to feel. That's what I've learned from all your teachings. It took me a long time to be honest with myself and allow me to feel what it was, and that was surfacing, and even be honest with other people, and even I've just been so much of a people pleaser. So, you know, I love that saying, how you say, don't make yourself wrong. That's been a big thing for me. And I often hear that in the back of my head. And the 2%, your 2% rule, I use those a lot.
In the journey, did you find the Mind Body community or find this work?
I actually found you through the World Tapping Summit in 2011. I love tapping, and I join that every year. It's usually around my birthday, and I love the Tapping Summit. And I found you on there, and I'd only just been diagnosed, and it had the autoimmune section, so I was just so taken, you know, and I thought, oh, I've got to do this, and so I've been doing your courses ever since, and yeah, just learning so much. And to be honest with you, I don't think I'd be here today without your work and your guidance. I really don't. It was pretty touch and go when I was in the hospital bed in the dining room, and yeah, it was hard to see a way out, but we got through. We made our way through, and things have changed, and so many good things are happening now.
Well, I think it's also really powerful the way you've chosen your yes, like to follow what you're inspired by or what you knew, rather than what you were told was possible, or, hey, this is the only thing we can do for you. You're just going to have to deal with it, versus, well, what do I know that's true? What resonates with me? And you sought out resources to move in that direction. And I know, you know, you had mentioned that really was, you know, following something inside yourself versus listening to what's outside of you.
Yes. I've always had, you know, that internal voice just telling me that this is not for me. You know, I have a bigger life purpose, and you know, this is not the way things are meant to be. And at first, because of my drive, and I've always been such a, you know, go person, I was pushing against that really hard. And what I've learned from your teachings is just that doesn't get you anywhere. It just got me deeper and deeper into the muck, pretty much.
But I do think this is really powerful sharing. The major reason I wanted you to share, and I know people are really inspired by seeing your photos where, like, you know, you're in your bathrobe and you're like getting up and around and you've got your walker, and then the story behind it is really powerful, because I think there are a lot of people who understand, yeah, your mind and your body are connected. And certainly, like, the decades of research we have now to show that, you know, every thought actually has a distinct signal that affects every single cell in our body. And our emotions are like a code that affect the cell receptors, that affect your DNA expression, that change everything that's happening in every single cell in the body. But then to understand the implications of that with serious illness versus stuff that's more subtle. So I've heard other doctors say, well, you know, that's, you know, there's a place for that, but this patient's really, really serious, so we need to go in a different direction. And they completely omit this factor, which has actually been shown to be the most powerful factor that will determine health or illness. Not a factor, but the most powerful factor, way beyond what we've seen with medications or surgery or other procedures, that this is something that is really powerful. But it's a matter of, like, when we cultivate it the right way, what a lot of people do with it is like what you were doing. Think positive, I can heal myself, overcome this, don't succumb. And what was the word? You said, I was so motivated.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
But then to see, like, what is the igniting factor? And this is what I see in my practice every day. It's when people open to allow something new. So we're not healing ourselves, we're allowing the circumstances and conditions so that the body can be healed. And that surrender is like a major part of the equation, where it's like, yes, I still have this intention, and yes, I'm still wanting to heal and be vibrant and healthy, but I let go of the wheel and surrender to the wisdom in me, this higher aspect that does know the code and does know that my body can heal and does allow, you know, orchestrate all of the responses throughout the body, and create something I could never create myself. So yeah, I was really excited to share the story, because I think for so many people, we think, oh, well, you know, this can work for some stuff, but like the really big things, or if I have a diagnosis, or if I'm on medication, and not realizing, like, even for the very most severe conditions with a specific diagnosis and laboratory findings and decline, that there is this, that's possible, this massive, profound turnaround and healing. So thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else like we didn't touch on? Because when you and I first talked, it was like we both had tears, and like I think maybe like share a little bit about your husband, because that was such a beautiful moment when you shared what it was like to have that relationship back.
Yeah, well, I'll get a bit teary now. We've been together 28 years, and we've always had a very solid relationship, and that was never in question. But this illness and all the stress we've been through, sorry, I'm getting quite teary. It put us through a lot of stress, and it nearly tore us apart. Yeah, it was very hard. And yeah, it still hurts to talk about it, because it was hard, so hard on my husband as well, what was happening to me. But yeah, but once I let go and just surrendered fully, he was there for me. He's been there for me the whole time. And as you were saying before, that whole thought process of you know, just changing your thought process, and I found that now that I've been able to do that, so much more is coming in. We've connected so much better. We are communicating so much better. I'm not reacting and getting reactive anywhere near as much as I used to. I've always been a very reactive person, and always felt that I had to justify what I was feeling, what I was doing, just justify my existence because of my childhood. It was quite difficult. So yeah, that's been a big thing for me, letting go of expectation. And in letting go of expectation, I've been able to receive so much more. And, you know, I've followed your work for so many years, and I'd hear that and think, wow, how that's not working, you know, because I was like bang, 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 pushing against it all the time. And I was one of these people that you talked about that think, oh, well, that's not me. My illness is too severe. That won't happen. You know, I'm trying all this, but it's not happening. And so, you know, I was stuck in that hole for quite some time. I wanted it, and I knew it could happen, or I felt it could happen deep within. But then I also, the logical side and what you're hearing from your doctor and mainstream, you know, medicine is at you as well. And so it's really hard to flip that switch and get out of that pattern.
Yes.
But now I'm on the other side, and I'm one of, you know, and now I'm one of these people that have done that. And for years I was looking, thinking, oh, I'm trying and it's not happening.
Yeah, that was the piece I think I wanted to touch on as well. Like, because I invite people all the time, like it's really when we let go of wanting and needing and trying. And then for me, I know everything in my life has been created through that process of letting go, like you said, letting go of expectation, because I want so many things to happen. And then it's like, well, what's under that? There's this need. I need this and I need that and I need that. I need to go a certain way. And not just healing an autoimmune illness, but like everything that's been created in my life, it's that same process. So I think it's really powerful for you to share like the depth of it and the pain, because it's not just like this physical thing. It's the, like the hopelessness, the despair, everything that went along with it. And to meet that space of hopelessness instead of trying to overcome it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You know, I ended up with, you know, severe anxiety, depression, PTSD, just from, you know, these years of dealing with the illness and what it was doing, you know, to myself, my family, just everything. So it's, it's like you said, it's not just the physical that I've had to work through. And as we all know, you know, these things, will, in my belief, always have an emotional component at, you know, at the root cause. So that's my belief, and I can see that. I can see now that I've been able to sort of put your work into practice and come up out of this, and as I'm healing, you know, as I'm becoming myself, I can see how it's just accumulating. I can be more and more comfortable within myself. I'm accepting and allowing more of myself every day, and in that I'm receiving a lot more too. And it's just flowing, and it's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah. Well, what would you say? I know you've been in the mind body community for a while. We have never worked together privately, so I think that's also a really powerful way that speaks for like what's possible within ourselves. What like programs have you done? I know you've used tapping, which is something I'm really excited to share with people who are, you know, learning about tapping. Hey, here's what's possible when we clear, you know, neutralize these underlying emotional patterns. What other things did you find to be useful?
Oh, where do I start? All of them have been just amazing. I started off with the Mind Body Toolkit, and that was sort of, you know, my entry into your teachings, and I just, that was like the door opened, the floodgates opened, and I was like, oh, I need to learn more about this, you know. So from then on, I had to have everything. I had to learn everything, and so I've done the Embracing Health program that has been really phenomenal. It's been quite intense, and there was quite a lot of trauma that I had to work through. I was coming up against a lot of blocks, but I've found that I've done a lot of your programs, and I was actually doing the Embracing Health whilst or repeating it whilst I was doing the other one, Alive Woman. And your teachings from Embracing Health actually sunk in once I did the Alive Woman, if that makes sense. It's like the penny dropped, and my mind was finally, you know, I was finally seeing all these things and understanding everything. So Instant Elevation, the Instant Elevation program was amazing too. Very early on, when my pain was very, very bad with my shoulder, I did the pain release program, and that was phenomenal, because I was in a really bad space. I could barely even sit and breathe without crying, so it was pretty tough. And that program really, I was really down when I did that, and that really helped me get back up. And then I went to the others, Liquid Dance and Alive Woman, and I love dancing. Dancing has always been my thing. I love yoga and Pilates, and so being in this chair, you know, and not being able to, I love hiking too. I want to come hiking with you.
Have to come to Colorado.
Well,
I thought it was pretty incredible when I shared the Liquid Dance program, because one of the things I shared with people was, this is not about exercise. It's not about doing the moves. It's not about the physical. It's about the energetic. So even if you're bedbound, even if you're in a wheelchair, like I invite you to receive what's possible just with the mirror neuron effect, because your body can take it in and begin to let energy move. And the first two testimonials I got were one from you about I've been in a wheelchair, I haven't moved, and this, I began to feel energy moving throughout my body, my pain released in my hips, and all this, you know, experience in my body. And the second one was from Marit, who also has shared very publicly in the mind body community, who was also in bedbound, like, I mean, you know, fed on a feeding tube, and like pretty like the most severe circumstance and condition. And it was like, wow, she had a severe encephalopathy, was told, you know, she'd probably never be walking again. And she had the same profound experience. So I thought, wow, I'm so grateful I had that awareness, like Kim, share this and really make sure people understand, like, it's not about the physical. We learn so much about the physical exercise, move your body and do this and work harder. And really what it takes to heal the body is energetic, and it's so much subtler. And if we can connect with that subtle body, the energy can start moving. So thank you for trying it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for presenting it. It really, I think the liquid dance really was my lifesaver, because I was in a lot of pain and I could barely move, and I really just didn't know where to turn. And so I just focused on watching the videos and doing the program, and I just visualize it day in, day out. I still look back at them and more or less do my dancing session while visualizing it, and it's just beautiful. It's helped me so much.
Well, I want to share with people, you know, my work is at drkimd.com, but it's not about like, oh, it's my program that's going to give you this magic key. Like, feel out for yourself. You know, these are the things that Anita worked with, and a lot of the work I've done is really inspired. It's very powerful, but feel out for yourself, like what really resonates for me, what really speaks to me. And it might be my work, it might be someone else's work, but the point is follow your inner knowing. There are a lot of people doing really amazing work, but if you're not following your inner knowing, you won't even cross paths with them, or you cross paths with them, but you're like, I'm too confused, or I don't have enough money, I've already tried everything, that won't work for me. And then those voices back you out of it. So it's essential that you just connect with, what would it take for me to be whole and vital and vibrant in my body and to have the highest life I'm here to live? What would it take for me? And then not to like search the answer, but resonate with the question, stay with the question and stay present and let it guide you as it will. And then choose everything that resonates with you around that.
Yes, indeed. I heard that for so long from your teachings, and I was like, oh, how do I do that? You know, and it took me a while to get my head around it. But once you release
sometimes we need to meet the deeper spaces of our own fear and our own despair and our own hopelessness, and let it be as it is without trying to fix it, without trying to change it, without trying to overcome it, remedy it, medicate it, and you can just meet it with that welcoming space. That's what allows so much more to be created. And that's what you're talking about with that surrender. And it took you a while to meet it, you know, however hard we're fighting. I was that way too. But in fact, we can choose. I meet myself fully and with acceptance and love unconditionally. I meet the deeper spaces of what's underneath this pain and what's underneath this illness. I choose to meet myself fully, and that can happen for anyone at any time.
Yeah, and it can happen so quickly, and it has such a ripple effect to everyone else around you. You know, positively. It's just amazing.
Well, you'll be sharing that now that people can see you and see the glow that you have, and also connect with you and witness your continued journey, because we keep continuing into more and more expansion, and through our own grace and allowing to let more and more healing happen. So thank you so much for connecting with me and sharing this with so many people and just being you.
Oh, thank you. And to everyone out there, you know, who's watching and listening, go with what your inner knowing is telling you. You know, there is hope. Just give yourself hope. Stay with yourself. Love yourself, and allow yourself to feel whatever it is you need to feel, whatever it is you're feeling. It's I think many of us that are dealing with conditions like this, where we're so derailed by the you know, the things that are told to us, and it's really hard to be gentle with ourselves. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
patient too. Like, it didn't happen on the first day.
yes,
It didn't happen on the second day. You know,
yeah,
there were some years that you just kind of hung in there with yourself to let something
yeah,
else be created. It's just different for everybody, but
yes, yeah. And now that that shift has happened for me, I find that my focus is completely different. So, you know, I'm not focused on, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to try. You know, my focus now is on joy and love and the things I want to do to promote more of that, or, you know, bring more of that. So instead of me focusing on, right, I've got to do this so that doesn't hurt, or that, you know, or I don't get sick, or, yeah, it's just so beautiful to have a completely new focus and really be aware of my life purpose and just my identity, you know, and claiming my true identity.
thank you.
Mm.
Beautiful. I think
Thank
we'll be
you.
seeing lots of great things from you coming forward as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm just, yeah, words can't say how grateful I am for yeah, all the things you do, the beautiful tools you teach, and yeah, I just can't put it into words how grateful I am. It's such an honor
But
to meet
I think
you.
people
And
will feel that, and it's really an invitation for them to follow what they feel called to as well.
yes, yeah, yeah, tap into their inner courage and their resilient soul, their resilient spirit. Yeah, yeah. I wrote a piece the other day about my resilient soul. So, and I'm very, very grateful that I have a very resilient soul. Mm,
As am I. Well, thank you
yeah.
so much for being here, and thanks everyone for connecting. I'm at drkimd.com. You can also put comments on this video. We'll share it to the Mind Body community in Facebook, and we'll share it on my YouTube channel. And there are lots of ways you can connect with Anita and myself. And we would love to hear from you with how this touched you and what your journey's been like.
Bye. Thank you.